Hello and welcome back to Transports Fever 2, the UK modded series. Thank you very much for joining me in today's video, and my voice went slightly too high-pitched just there and there. I'll try and bring it down, I'll tone it down just a little bit. But yes, thank you very much for joining me in today's video. Now, last time out, I was working around Berwick, or between Berwick and Downham, at the marshalling yard and trying to get freight going down south, which is now happening, albeit not in the best of manners, but it is happening. I'm going to be leaving that running for a while because I want to see what sort of chaos ensues with all the extra trains that I've put on the main line, and perhaps the lack of traffic management, because there is only one passing place for those trains and I doubt that is going to be enough. So I have moved over to Lichfield, and in Lichfield over here, a few episodes ago I mentioned that I wanted to build a factory here. Speaking of factories, I have received the comments about where I should put the tools factory, but this is a steel mill, or steel factory, steel foundry, whatever you want to call it. This is where we are going to be producing steel. However, having looked at it, this is probably not the best spot for it. So, despite the fact that it is going to remain in Lichfield, unfortunately it is not going to be here. After the intro, I'm going to show you the new location. I'll give you a clue. It is on screen. The new location is definitely on screen, and then from there I will get on with building it. Of course, factories, all those kind of things, industries, sometimes they take a little bit more than a single episode, so this one probably will, but I shall see how far I can get in a single video. So make sure you stay tuned. Let's get started. There is a locomotive just pottering by on its own. I do need to spread these locomotives out a little bit more. They seem to be a little bunched up. I see another one in the distance, which is not ideal. But yes, make sure you stay tuned. Let's get started, and let's start putting the steel... Is it a steel mill? Is that what they would call it? Or would you call it a foundry? No idea. I'm getting tied up in semantics. Do not need to be tied up in said semantics, but there we go. Let's get started. Let's start building whatever it is. Let's just call it a production chain of some sort. Okay, so the location is not there. The location is right here. Now, this is an interesting location, I'm sure, for various reasons, but one of the things that is slightly concerning to me is that I have to get rid of this bit of the woods. I've also got... What on earth is all this traffic? What is that traffic all about? Who are you waiting for? Who are you waiting for? Right, hang on, I've got some confusion here. You are going that way. There is no signal coming down here. Okay, I'm going to have to very quickly, just to keep things moving, just throw a temporary signal in there. And another signal in about there. That should just keep this one moving. I'm thinking it's something over here it is waiting for. No, there is nothing. Is there something in the station? Apparently, oh, that is what it was waiting for. That is not good. Anyway, so... Where's Lichfield gone? Yes, this is going to be the new location. It is a little bit interesting because all these farms are going to go. It's right near the gasworks. This road should be built properly as well, so I should be able to get this entire road in, or at least most of it, which will be interesting because that means that connects up all the way over to West Mersey. However, before I do that, I've been trying to make the villages a little bit more realistic. So, one of the things I've done is line the road with trees, because that looks a little bit better. That does look more realistic now, coming into this village, going over here. There's the station. Some trees in the back garden, some trees around here. So when you're over here, that again, I think that looks a little bit more realistic. Maybe I should have put some gardens here as well and pushed that back, and some trees around this area. It does give it just a little bit, as I said, more of a real feel. And also, I've been doing the same over, not there, that's not true, over here. Here we go. So I've started with another village, and that is this one. And honestly, I think this one looks even better than the first. It isn't perfect, and the biggest issue I have is just the textures. I wish that these were stone, like whitewashed stone, something similar to this but slightly higher quality. So I've managed to find these buildings, which are farm buildings, but if I had that sort of texture on these buildings, I think it would look really quite realistic. But there we go, that is that, and with the trees that I've put in, it does work. It looks the part. So we have the farm, which apparently I haven't connected this bit of. Have I not done that? Interesting. Let's sort this little bit out, shall we? So the way I'm going to do this, I know this is not what was planned today, but how often does this happen with me? Quite often. This is just how I do things. Yeah, build that anyway, because I'll then delete that there and then that there, and go assets, hedge, that's one. Bit of a straight line there. And then just not quite like that. There we go. That will do. Okay. That is a little bit better. And apparently I knocked some hedges out over here as well. But I will sort that out a little later on. Oh yes, that was because I built this entire road. So that will be sorted out a little later. Although, that being said, train coming through, I need to see how this actually ends up looking. That train will be approaching any moment. Where are you? There you are. What speed are you doing? Oh, it's a freight train as well. Okay. It's that southern freight train that got lost. Let's see how that actually looks. Not that close. I know the name of the station's wrong, but that's fine. I do think that looks relatively good. Not perfect, but relatively good. Also, I found out why we have this flickering. So this was me fixing a mod. I'll show you that in a moment as well. I found out that flickering is to do with two-sided textures, it seems. That's how you get Z-axis fighting. Okay. I mean, why not? Right, anyway, back to what I was doing. End of video. I'll show what I've done to. It's my own speed mod. So yes, let's leave this playing, I suppose, for now, whilst I work out. Oh no, I need to work out camera angles, don't I? Because that's the thing I have to do. Let's go for that being 1. That being 2. Get rid of the path. This one here being 3. Yeah, that can be 3. And we'll have perhaps a lower one about here with 4. That seems reasonable for 4. And if I need any more, I will do that afterwards. So, 1, take a screenshot. 2, take a screenshot. 3, I wonder if it shows the screenshot. I doubt it would. That overlay should not show the overlay on the overlay, right? But I suppose you have to be sure of that. Let's go ahead and save that as a steel mill. There we go. That will do. Okay, let's continue and get this running so I can start breaking all of this. So how is this going to work? Well, it is going to involve redoing this entire section. However, the first thing I probably want to do is remove... Oh, that's interesting. Some of these are actually assets now. I'm going to remove all of this. There we go. Okay. Then I need to get asset remover, this one. And get rid of... There isn't any fence here, is there? No. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. All the way along. Up to there. That bit there. And that bit there. Okay. That is now cleared for what we need it to be. Next up, I need to do some measurements, and the best way to do measurements is just by laying some track. So, we'll start with figuring out, so I want something that's going to be 600 yards in total. So I'd want platforms that can be that long. Now, the great thing about this is that there is no coal that is going to be coming from here. There's absolutely no coal coming from this part of the map. The coal is going to be coming in from here. Now you're probably wondering, what do I need coal for? Well, I'm going to simplify the steel making process, and we're just going to use iron and coal and fuel. That is what is going to be used to make the steel. So, since the coal is going to be coming in through here, there really is going to end up being a split through this to get into that bit. Which does mean I could push this a little bit further. The reason I need to push this further is because somehow I need this to happen. Now, how am I supposed to get that happening? I have no idea. I could do exactly what I've done there, but I think it's going to be a much better option to sort out this bit and actually have this 4-tracked up to here. This is where we've got some... I definitely have trouble with signals. Look at where some of these trains are. Look where that line is. You just head back, will you? You're causing a mess. Go back. That's it. You go to New Romney. Yeah, you do that. So it's just a lot of traffic. Right. So I need to look at for tracking all of this up to there. That's probably my best option. I also need to look at, so this is all 2-tracked, which is fine. I'm going to have to re-look at this because this is going to be different. Where are you going? You're also going to New Romney. Why don't you go somewhere else? Yeah, you go there. There you go. If you need to get on the right track, I have no idea. Okay. So, let's work out... I'm probably going to have to destroy... But let's erase up this bit here. Make that brush a little bigger. That will, in fact, this will probably all be destroyed up to this side. We'll try and make up for it and have forest over here. I'm also going to look at this and say, well, let's try, though I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do this, but let's try to, sort of can. Let's try to run this around here a little. How's that looking? Reasonable. So we'll run this right down to the end. Possibly just with a complete straight line through this area. There we are. Okay. So this is going to be new. You know what I should have done? I should have... That's not right. I should have locked all of these immediately. That's something I do have to be wary of as I'm doing stuff. So all of this needs to be locked. That was supposed to be a sawmill at some point, or a forest. Never really got around to doing that. Okay. Now, what I could say is that the train lines are down here, fairly close to... So let's say they are fairly close to here. So... Yes, that doesn't look too bad. All of that is going to be destroyed. Track would go... Let's say the train line would peel off from here. So we're going to have that like probably a crossing, something akin to that. So I'll say something like that, and then let's make this something like that. Okay, that looks, so far that looks okay. And then I get to put one of these in, which I do quite prefer. 500 meters. Apparently that's the biggest you can get, but that's fine. 500 meters I can work with. Do I want it perfectly straight or do I want it curved? That's the other question. Let's start with straight, and then let's give it the right track, and let's add, how many tracks would we want for this? Let's do 4 just for now. Now I'm going to go and get inspiration from what I did across the map in Shepshire. There it is. That is what I've done in in Shepshire. So we've got, oh yeah, 4 tracks, and then I've got these little tracks off to the side, these little spurs that have buffers at the end. So I'm going to try and do something fairly similar to this, and this is the sort of size I'm probably looking at as well. Nothing too large, but certainly something that still looks the part. So realistically, get rid of that. In fact, what we could do, could we do this? Loop it around and go back? No, not going to be able to do that. I'm just going to look up, just because I can, I'm going to look up what steel mills in the UK look like. Steel mill UK. Let's see. Old would help. Okay, plenty. So we have the railway. We have plenty of buildings, lots of tall chimneys. Steel works. That's what it is. Not steel mill. That's a lot of... Okay, that is a lot more in the way of railways, train depots and stuff than I thought there were. That's going to be interesting. I wonder how I'm going to pull that off in the Transport Fever 2 scale. Oh, that is definitely a lot. It's a lot more than I thought. Okay, let's do something here. Let's do something. Let's build this up to be 6 tracks, like so. I'm then going to have where's it gone? That not connect. Do not connect to that. That's it. And then I'm probably going to do that. Do I want it to be out in this direction? Maybe. Some of these are not going to be, they're not going to be running or anything like that, so it doesn't really matter. But some of them are. So I need to come up with some idea as to how I'm going to do this stuff. So we'll have 250, so that bit goes like that. We've got that. I could potentially put, if possible, okay, if possible, I might be able to put another very short but very wide set here. That goes up to the road. Have that at, let's say, 60 meters. And that just sits there, I don't know, like that. Okay. And all of this is somehow going to have to be connected. So this is the initial look at the steel mill. Steel mill, steel, whatever it's called, steel works. What is missing? I'm just thinking, I probably want another set here. Potentially another set here. Maybe. Okay, so that's a start. That's pretty large. So in fact, this area is all going to be steel mill. I should probably paint this all with soil to start with, so I know exactly where my borders are. So it's there. All of this. Who's ringing a bell? Who's ringing a bell? Okay. All of this is going to be part of the steel mill, all of that. I think in all honesty, this entire section, I'm probably going to have to get rid of all those trees as well, which I'll do in a moment, and then all of this. Right. Now to put factories in and see where those go. You go along there. I'll clean the rest of this up. Clean that bit up there. Clean that bit up there. Good enough for me. Assets, remove all of these. Unfortunately. There we go. That's all gone. Cleared up. That bit, and that bit. Okay, now let's have a look at some buildings. So we've got these. I'm not sure that is going to help. That doesn't really give it much. That doesn't look very impressive. These do not look very impressive either. Nor do those. None of this does. Okay. This is going to be a problem. This is definitely going to be a problem. Going to have to find some pretty good assets. Oh, I know where I can find some. These are not tall enough, right? No, these are far from tall enough. I need some big assets. Here we go. That is the kind of thing I'm talking about, a foundry. That is the size I'm looking at. Be even better. This one is, annoyingly, it has all of this at the front, and I'm not sure I can paint over that, can I? No. It's literally just there. Yeah, it's just there. Which is a problem. So I don't want that, but I want that chimney. That's exactly the chimney I'm after. Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's, instead of focusing on the bits around all the sort of things that make it look like a foundry, all the whatever you want to call it, the decorations, the buildings, etc. Let's look at what might actually have some practical... Let's just look for steel, actually, first of all. Let's just see what comes up. No, nothing. Nothing at all. Yeah, let's look at... That looks so strange. Let's look at figuring this out. So I need to get these two trains out of here. Once that train is gone, where's the next train? You're going out, so nothing to worry about there. Nothing coming in there. Nothing coming in on that side. Good. So after these two are out of here, that one's actually going the opposite direction. So once that one is out, I should be able to rework this bit. I'm still looking at pictures of these foundries just to try and see if there's anything else I could potentially do. I suppose I could put some water in. There appears to be water in one of these foundries. In fact, looking at the way the foundry is, I think what I could do is maybe not place this quite as close as I have. That perhaps I can push much further up. So, for example, push that. I'm going to need to pause this in a moment. And because it's Transport Fever 2, let's make it smaller. Push that way up here. That might be a little better. Okay. This looks like a better option. You are actually moving, so that might give me enough. Okay, there's another train leaving. This place is busy. This place is really busy. Oh, and there's another train coming in. I need to make sure that train is gone. Who are you and what do you want? Okay, in the meantime, I know I need to destroy this. So let's do that. There we go. That's good. And let's try and connect some of these up in the middle. Start with standard 5 mile per hour track. So we'll start peeling it in. How do we want to peel it in? Let's do this. That and that. And then see how that peels in quite perfectly. It's pretty much exactly what I wanted it to do. Right, you're getting out of there. That's good. Okay, so that's a good start. That's a very good start. Should I have this going that direction or this direction? I might just get rid of that and replace it with something else. Okay, next up is of course the standard, what is now my standard way of doing things, which is I build one of these and then right behind it I build another one of them. Because this just seems to, honestly, this just seems to work pretty well. And then at the end of it all, you put a crossover. Now, it doesn't give it much room to, so we could end up with blockages, but I'm expecting that this should not have that issue. So that's that bit done. Now what I can do is I'll be able to put the farms back in, the fields back in exactly where they need to be, which shouldn't be too much of an issue. Then I need to start working on the opposite side. This is where things get a little bit more difficult, shall we say. Because realistically, I want this to... You know what I could do? I have no idea whether or not this is going to fit, but I could try. I'm definitely going to try. It doesn't fit, but I could make it fit. I can definitely make that fit. Because why have the train going straight through? Yes, I can make this fit. You need to do something. Is there nothing running here? No, apparently not. Did I must have messed something up or never completed something. I think I never completed something here. What I need to do is I probably need to move that to this side somewhere. Maybe in this gap. So we'll get rid of you and we'll try and rebuild you in here. Let's do that wherever you are. Small and compact. There it is. Okay. 30 meters, narrow to 10. Too much slope. Why? I do not think so. None, no signs. I do not think there was too much slope there. I'm not sure why this is complaining about this. I'll try and build it anyway and then configure it. Try and do that and see if it just connects. And there you go, it connects. Oh, I see the too much slope issue. Right. Oops. Now how am I going to get around that? Right, no, I see the issue. Right. Oh, I know. I can place it here instead. Look at that. Absolutely perfect. Nothing to worry about whatsoever. Yep, that will do. So, that is still connected, everything still works as it should, but now I have this opening on this side, which I will use this to put, let's just put a, no, why am I using that? That just makes it worse. Because if I use that, I cannot upgrade it as I normally would. So what I would want to do is, this is what I want to do. 1 and 2. Remove that and that, and then just build a perfectly straight track, flat, through here. Okay. This is where the freight is now going to be piling out of. Somehow. Yep, somehow I'm going to make the freight pile out of this one. I think a good option for me is to do, I cannot connect it like that, but I could, that's not good. That's terrible. That there is terrible. I'm going to have to rework that quite severely. Can I rework that right now? I do get distracted quite often. It's just because there are all these things that I want to try and fix, and it's just... There you go. That's better. That's much, much better. Still a little bit of a bump, but everything else appears to work with it. I guess I could lift this up a further 25. There you go. Even better. Oh, there comes a train. So, what do I need to do here? So this bit is opening up very easily. What I then want to do is potentially, let's try and run this. Could I run 4-track here? That's a good question. I could run 4-track. This will be a dedicated freight track. Construction not possible. I cannot run 4-track. It's a bit too close to that. So what I'll do instead is, oh, apparently this needs an upgrade. That road also needs an upgrade, so I might as well do that whilst I'm here, and then build this out. Now push that out there, because these are going to break anyway, and just connect that like that. Good. Now I should be able to build my 4th track. I can, and you go there and there, and apparently you do not wish to disappear. There you go. Okay. Progress. That's definite progress. Now what that allows me to do is it allows me to push this in here. Oh, no, it allows me to do a couple of things. I want 4-track out of here. There is a, that, whatever that is, that needs to change. So what I could do is put the 4 tracks there, but allow one of these tracks for the trains to come in here to turn around. Yes, that is what I'm going to do. Great. What stops here? Let's find out. West Goods. So that would now just go into here and just turn around there and go out. And the other one, which is the loop, which I'll be honest, I don't particularly care about. It's just there for aesthetic reasons, and honestly, it's causing more of a hassle than it currently is worth. So I'm going to pause this and get rid of... Okay, get rid of this. Watch the problems start. Remove this. Remove this. And this, I guess. There we are. Remove that. I suppose I still need that 3-to-1 connection. But I'll sort that out in a moment. Ooh, screen flashed black for a second. That was weird. And we'll go... So we've got the 4. Let's run parallel up to here. And then split out. That looks reasonable. There we go. Parallel and then split. Break you. Because this is all changing. Run parallel up to here. So how is this going to work? Okay, it is going to need a little bit of tinkering. No, it isn't. It isn't going to need tinkering, because the way I'm going to do this is that this station, and probably this station alone, is going to be an up, down station. So this would connect up, as an example, this would connect up like this, up to here. I'll push that signal back to there. Remove that signal. Put the track back in so it connects up. Oh, come on. There we go. Like that. Okay. And over here, we're going to go... This one's going to be interesting. Will it allow me to do it? It allows me to do it to there, which is good. That's not exactly what I want. So I'd want that to connect. I know how I want this to connect. It's just whether or not I can pull it off. Oh, I might just about be able to. Just. So you go there. Where is this? There it is. Please work. Oh, it's too close. Okay. Rethink. Do I have to rethink it? Or can I just say it doesn't go in that direction? What is currently broken? Let's find out. It's West Goods and Loop A. Is everything else still fine? It is. Everything else still appears to be okay. Okay. So all I need to do is get this to somehow make its way across to there. I say somehow, this is the difficult bit. And this is the bit on which this episode is probably going to end. Okay. Better option. Break this. Push this right up, further up. So get rid of, or actually plan this up so I know where it's supposed to go. So this is, that's tracks 3 and 4. Break you. Build a new track. Let's push this up. Let's push this up another 100 yards. Sure. Right, up 100 yards. You now go in. There we are. 6 tracks. Ooh. A little bit further than I wanted it to be. Okay, let's not go 100 yards then. Let's go, oh, I don't know, 70 yards. No, let's just go another 60 yards. That's probably better. Let's see where that goes. Perfect. That's probably what I want. Could have gone the 70 yards, but that gives me that much extra room to play with, which is actually a lot. That is actually quite a lot of room. Right, same thing on this. In fact, let's not do that side first. Let's get this side up and running and working. So we've got, come on, that there, that there, that and that. Bring it forward another 30 yards. That and that. Good. And now this is going to connect up. Okay, so I need this to somehow, I have no idea how I'm going to do this. I need this to connect up to that. Now, how do I pull that off? I guess I break that for now, which is going to cause me, probably going to cause me pain later on. But that connects up to that. I'll sort out the road later. It doesn't really matter. I want to get the outline in effectively to make sure I know what is running where. And this is where, yes, this is where this will work. So we can have this go across like so. I can also have it split here like so. Good. And at the same time, I can make it do... Can I make it do it? No. No, that is not possible. Make that go straight for a little bit longer and then turn in, potentially. I could try that. Or should I make the split go through? No, that isn't going to let me do that. Of course, I could just slip this. Which would not be an issue. And then, as I said, this just goes in. Where is this supposed to come from? Hang on. It comes in from over there. Why does it come in from over there? It does that. Oh, well, in that case, I can just very easily do this. That shouldn't cause trouble. No, that shouldn't cause trouble. And for the sake of testing this to make sure it works, build that anyway. And build that anyway. I know what's causing the collision, so it doesn't matter. And erase you. There we go. Why is it still not happy? Could not connect all stations. Right, okay. So let's do a managing of the line and say we had lower Litchfield, which no longer exists. So instead, we add this in as opposed to that and get rid of lower Litchfield. Like that. And say, look, you take 4, 5, or 6. In all honesty, you could take any of them, because if I put the... Okay, I know what I can do. 1, 2, 3, I know. 2 here. That is not what I asked for, but fine. There. No, that is not what I asked for. That is not what I asked for. Oh dear. Construction will be possible. I assure you, construction is possible here. You are merely mocking me. How is construction not possible? How is that not... How about across there? That is not what I asked for. Okay, fine. We'll do it this way then. And suddenly it is possible. How bizarre. Right, and then loop A is probably going to have to do the same thing. So for loop A, manage the line. Instead of lower Litchfield, we are going to add you. And this is where I could add all of these little bits all over the place and remove that. And similarly say... Now apparently that's supposed to go to early shunt. Oh, well, it cannot do that because I have not built this side. But I can now build this side. If I do that... Oh, look. Suddenly it is able to do what I wanted to do. Isn't that great? As I said, these things take some time. These things definitely take time. Thankfully, there's only a couple to do. Reading the comments regarding where I should put the other yard, the tool factory, not the yard, the tool factory. Somebody said put it near a village. That's an interesting thought. Having it near a village. After all, that's how some of the villages become towns and cities and stuff. That's not too bad. And a comment that I really thought was a smart idea was putting it in West Bromwich. Because West Bromwich at the moment, it's sort of in the middle of nowhere. I suppose I've got some relatively flat land around this area. A tools factory would make sense here, and that would really make this area very, very busy, and it would mean that steel would have to travel up here along with fuel, and there'd be a lot going on. So that's a pretty good option as well. And I think someone else said put it in Stratford upon Avon, which is another good option. So having it all the way down here. Where I would place it is a different question, because this place is a bit hilly. I'm not entirely certain where I would put it. Maybe... No, it goes downhill as well. It possibly have to be just here. So that is another good option. But at the moment, I think I'm leaning towards West Brom for it. Okay, now that we have this, all I need to do is just temporarily put some signals in, just to make sure nothing gets messed up. So there are some temporary signals. All outbound signals there. And similarly here, bunch of temporary signals. I think I'm going to have to push and make some adjustments to this. Might do it off camera. Some of the adjustments that I need to make here, I think I'll do that off camera. Are the signals already on this? No. Apparently I never bothered putting signals on it. That's smart. Or I did and I accidentally deleted them. Signals there, that looks good. Signal here, signal there. There's a signal inbound. That is going to have to change. I think I'm going to make this a bridge if possible. And let's put a signal here. And a signal right here. Because that's definitely long enough to put a pretty long train in. In fact, that's got to be at least 450 yards, right? Yep, it's 550 yards. So that's more than enough. Perfect. So that is a small amount of progress for this video, but we will definitely get there. At least this main bit is completed. What I now need to do is figure out what buildings to put in here. If you've got any suggestions for the buildings, do let me know, because that would be really, really quite useful, knowing what buildings I could potentially place in this particular speeds need to be done in this particular area with these particular what speed am I looking at? 50? Not 50. What speeds are we going at? 40. For this particular foundry, that would be really, really useful, actually. So if you do have any ideas what buildings would do the trick, please do let me know. So yes, thank you very much for watching. Please remember to click on the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos on Tron Sports Fever 2, the UK modded series. Leave a comment in the comments box below, letting me know what you think. Any suggestions you might have. If you can do so, please do consider supporting me on Patreon. Link in the description box below, as are links to my social media and Discord server. That is all from me. Should I bring this up to 40? Do you know what? Why not? It probably isn't going to remain, but that's fine. That is all from me, and I shall see you next time in Tron Sports Fever 2, the UK modded series, where I'm going to finish this off. Definitely going to finish this bit off. Let's go ahead and see which thumbnail will work the best. Not that one. That one is the best option. There we go. So yes, I will see you next time, where this will take shape, and hopefully we should start figuring out where to get trains toing and froing, which does mean I am going to have to set up an iron mine. There is one nearby. Just going to have to figure out how to set it up. So make sure you stay tuned for all of that coming up. Thank you very much once again. I'll see you then.